The music of Claude Debussy completely transformed Western music at the end of the last century. Debussy created music with extraordinary sensuous textures, highly unusual instrumental colors, and evocative new harmonies. Through these innovations, Debussy created perhaps the most strikingly original body of work ever achieved by a single composer. His scores revealed whole new worlds of sound to musicians and to audiences, and they remain hauntingly beautiful a century after they were written. Hello, I'm Gerard Schwarz for Musically Speaking. On this recording, we'll explore the musical world of the great French composer Claude Debussy, focusing on three of his brilliant orchestral pieces: the Prélude to Afternoon of a Faune, the three pieces known as Nocturnes, and his luminous portrait of the sea, La Mer. We'll also look in some detail at Debussy's revolutionary harmonic language and at his highly imaginative use of orchestral instruments. Debussy and his work are indelibly associated with French culture at the turn of the last century, particularly with the school of painters associated with the term Impressionism. That same term frequently is applied to Debussy's music, although the composer himself disliked the label. Debussy was born in the summer of 1862 in Saint-Germain-en-Laye, a suburb of Paris. Neither of his parents were musical, nor particularly well educated. His father worked as a shopkeeper, a traveling salesman, a printer's assistant, and finally as a clerk in an accounting firm. His mother was a seamstress. Achille Claude, as his parents christened him, received his early education entirely from his mother, apart from some piano lessons he began at the age of 7 or 8. Debussy soon showed exceptional promise as a pianist, and at the age of 10 gained admission to the famed Paris Conservatory, one of the world's great music schools. He developed an outstanding command of the keyboard and seemed destined for a career as a virtuoso pianist. But for some reason, he failed to take prizes in the competitions he entered at the conservatory. In 1880, around the time of his 18th birthday, he went to Switzerland and spent a season there as house pianist to Nadezhda von Meck, the wealthy and music-loving Russian widow who, for years, was Tchaikovsky's patron and correspondent. However, Debussy soon fell in love with Madame von Meck's eldest daughter and was quickly dismissed. Upon his return to Paris, Debussy enrolled in composition classes at the conservatory. His future course was now decided. That is not to say that Debussy's career progressed smoothly or easily. After finishing his conservatory courses, he worked in obscurity and poverty for most of the next 2 decades. Debussy had no interest in writing the sort of officially sanctioned conventional music that might have earned him commissions, performances, and perhaps a teaching post at some music school. Even during his student days, he upset his teachers with the unusual harmonies that he would improvise at the piano. Once an instructor at the conservatory confronted him over some of these audacities. "So," said the professor, "you imagine that dissonant chords do not have to be resolved. What rule do you follow?" Debussy replied, "My instinct." In fact, Debussy's instinct for new, unimagined harmonies would become one of the most important developments in the creation of modern music. After leaving the conservatory, Debussy led a bohemian existence in Paris. He earned a meager living, giving as few piano lessons as he could get by on. He wrote a good deal of music, but felt satisfied with very little of it. Paris in those days was at the center of new ideas in the arts. Debussy associated with writers and painters, as well as musicians, and absorbed important ideas from their works. The textures of the new Impressionist artists greatly impressed him. The richly textured, elusive poetry of Verlaine and Mallarmé also seems to have suggested to him the possibility of a similarly rich, elusive kind of music. At the same time, Debussy absorbed more exotic influences. Most especially, he listened with fascination and delight to the sound of Javanese gamelan music, which was heard in the West for the first time at the Paris International Exhibition of 1889. The unusual pentatonic harmonies and the colorful percussion effects of this music would later be reflected in many of Debussy's works, especially.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.